All right, welcome back to Happy Hour, where I answer all of your personal questions in all honesty. Today's Happy Hour question comes from a woman named Eve. Eve feels as if she has to choose between her husband and her son. Now, Eve has 6 children that is not with her husband. Eve's oldest son, who happens to be 16 years old, doesn't get along with his stepfather at all. And so now Eve is being pressured by her husband to make a choice between her marriage and her son. So I'm gonna go ahead and unwind this story to you because I do want to hear your thoughts after I give my thoughts on this commentary, because like I said, most minds are better than one, and this is our segment, okay? Now, for the happy hour question of the day, okay? Eve writes, I've been married to my husband for 4 years. We've been together for a total of 6 years, and I have 6 children, and me and my husband do not have any children together. Before we got married, my husband had constant conflict with one of my children, my 16-year-old son. Even though there has been a conflict, we have managed to overcome some of the problems and issues and continue to move forward. While we were dating, my husband was aware that my son had mental problems. He was also aware of him being diagnosed as bipolar and needing to be prescribed medication and also hospitalized because of the medication that he was on at the time. That was not working, and because of that, he had to be put on a different type of medication, and that's what caused his hospitalization. Fast forward into the marriage. Both my son and husband have had constant conflict, and I do step in and I check my son when he is wrong. But I also try to explain to my husband where he can be wrong at some things as well. My husband is to the point where he no longer wants a relationship with my son, and he doesn't want to deal with me. My husband doesn't speak to him and doesn't want to deal with anything that has to deal with my son. But when it comes to issues and situations in the household, my husband will come to me and bring an issue to my attention when it does have something to do with Jeremiah. Tasha, right now, my husband is saying that when my son graduates high school, he is expecting for my son to be out of the household, and he is not going to change his mind on that. He says that if my son is still in the household, by the time he graduates high school, even after having a job, then he is leaving the household, meaning my husband. So right now, being that my husband has expressed to me how he feels about my son and he can't stand him, and he feels that if I choose to keep him in the home, then that says to my husband that I love my son more than him. So Tasha, if my son wanted to move out on his own, and if he was financially stable and able to take care of himself, then that's fine. I will not stand in his way of doing that, but I don't want to be in a situation where if he does move out, he's not able to take care of himself. My husband has said that if he does move out and he wants to come back, he is not allowed in the home. So again, my husband is stating to me that if my son moves out, he is not allowed to come back in the home. And most of my friends are telling me that I should let my marriage go and just deal with getting over it, because my husband has always had constant conflict and issues with my son. Some people are even saying that I need to have my husband's back and support his decision because of my son's behavior. Tasha, nobody seems to care about my relationship with my child. Men come and go, but your child will always be your flesh and blood. Help me to figure out all of this, and you can give me the straight truth, no chaser. I will take it all in. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my letter, and I hope that I can resolve this conflict. Thank you. Okay, now that was from Eve. Now, I wouldn't want to be put in that situation at all. I do feel, and I'm going to say this for the record, a lot of women do feel trapped when they're in relationships with men and they aren't the fathers to their children. So they feel that as if they have to somehow keep them separated. And I noticed that was what Eve was doing in this email. She kept referring to my son. my husband, my son, meaning that her husband, even though he didn't father those children, she separated, or she was made to separate from both her husband and then her children, probably not wanting to be fucked up with him at all because he ain't the daddy. She's had to make sure that she keeps them both separated just so they feel some type of loyalty and love from her. And I don't think no mother or no wife should have to be in that situation. Now, I do want to say this to Eve. And Eve, after you watch this video, I want you to let your husband watch it so I can go ahead and tell him exactly what in the hell he's doing, and he's wrong for doing it. And I don't give a damn if that's not his child. When he married you, he married your kids, meaning he chose to step up and be a father to those children. Now, yes, he'll never be blood related to them, but he's assumed the role to co-parent with you to help you raise all of your kids. And that's something he can't ask you to choose between. And he has no right to make you feel or ask you to choose between your child and him. That's not what a man represents, and that's not what a man should represent. A man should represent a leadership role. It's your job and your husband's job when he decided to marry you all, you and your kids, to help prepare your son, especially with him being a young man and he's going to be growing into a man. It is that man's job to help you to prepare your son to move out and to function in society. And so when I hear you state that your husband has actually told you that he just has to get out because he can't stand him, that sounds like a really selfish individual and a man that really doesn't give a damn, because if a real man loved you, he wouldn't ask you to choose between your kid and him, and also wouldn't state that if you did choose for your son to remain in that household after he's 18, that you in turn love your child more than you love your husband. And yes, you should love your child more than your husband because your child came from you. Now, I'm not telling you to choose. I'm telling you to sit this man down and let him know what your responsibilities as parents are to this young man who does have a mental disorder but can function if he's taught properly how to function. And as parents, that's your job to prepare him for the world. Meaning right now at 16, there needs to be a sit down of college. If not college, there needs to be a sit down of what he's gonna do when he graduates. And there needs to be a plan put in place, whether it's 6 months to a year, on his transition out of the home into his own home. And even when he's into his own home, I do personally believe in this, and I'm gonna do it for my daughter. And I actually got this lifestyle from a friend of mine who happens to be Black, and she has 4 daughters, and she prepared each of her daughters, even after she lost her husband to cancer. She helped each of her daughters sit down and plan their lives after high school and into college. And even when they were done with college, she still helped them to manage their lives financially by not giving them money, but she taught herself how to live based off of a budget. And then if her children ever called or needed help or wanted to return to the home, she just honestly sat her kids down and she went through each and every one of her kids' finances and helped them to prepare a budget so that they didn't have to return home, and they would learn how to downsize their lives when they found themselves in a situation or possibly have to move back home. This is your responsibility to your son and to your husband. And I think honestly, you need to either have him watch this video or you need to take what I say, sit him down and let him know that as a man, he needs to help teach your son, regardless of your son accepting it. Of course, your son is at a stage where he doesn't give a damn and he's a teenager. He's not the only boy in America, especially a Black boy, that has hate on his heart, because he's becoming more conscious and aware of his surroundings. So there's a lot of things emotionally that may be going on with your son, but it's you and your husband's responsibility to help him work through that, regardless of his personal relationship with that man that's not his father. He's not supposed to be his friend. He's not supposed to even like your son. He's supposed to love your son unconditionally and teach him the things that he needs to know so that he can function as a man, especially a black man in this society. So right now, you guys need to be working out budgets. You need to be sitting down with him, asking him what he wants to do. And then you guys don't need to help him financially. You just need to help him to prepare financially for his lifestyle after high school. And you need to create a relationship between your son and your husband, so when he does move out, he's able to come to a man and discuss his problems with the man financially or socially. And that man, who is your husband, should be open, regardless of how he feels about him, to help guide him and aid him so that he can fully function on his own. Now I gotta go. Now, before I go, I do want to hear from you, the viewers, on what Eve should do. I don't think Eve should have to choose. I think Eve needs to sit down and talk to her husband about not being a friend and about not liking her son. But she needs to discuss with her husband that it is his responsibility to help guide her son, because that's what he signed up for when he decided to take on this family of 7. So it's his responsibility, if he truly loves her, to help her son function after high school and even into adulthood. That's the job of the parents. I am in total disagreement of children just leaving at 18 with no plan and no preparation just because a parent doesn't like them or a parent can't afford to take care of them anymore. And so they're excited that their kid is 18, and so now they can get the hell out of the house because you're old enough and they have to take care of other children. If that parent hasn't prepared you to take care of yourself, then honestly, you failed not only yourself, but your child. And you're gonna create a generational habit of poverty and codependent human beings who can't self-sustain themselves because they weren't taught by your ass because you was too lazy to learn. Now, so please, I'm gonna leave the question below so that you can give your comments on this. Remember, if we put all of our minds together, Eve will be able to walk away with a solid plan in order to keep her family together and help her to guide her young black son into a lifestyle of self-sufficiency. Now, before I go, I am drinking the Apothic Rosé, okay? Now, I know it's gone. The last time I introduced it, okay, was last week. Rosé lasts a while. It's not flat yet. It's actually pretty good. I have honestly deleted so many recordings this week because I was trying to get the sound ready for you guys, okay? So that's why my wine is almost gone. So I got like one more video, okay, to record drinking this wine, okay? This is the Apothic Rosé, okay, made by my favorite winemaker, Apothic. If you've had the Apothic Red, the Apothic Crush, the Apothic Dark, okay, they even have the Apothic White that I'm going to introduce next week. This is the Apothic Rosé, okay? And you taste, honestly, watermelon, a hint of raspberries, as well as strawberries, and it's very light. And this is a perfect rosé that you can enjoy anytime and even at breakfast, okay? You can honestly get this wine for about $9 to $10 from your local grocery store. I will, of course, leave the link below in the description box so that you can Google this wine and hopefully enjoy it for yourself. Thank you all so much for watching Happy Hour. I really appreciate your patience. I've gotten all of your messages throughout the week. You guys were checking on me. I believe you thought something was physically wrong with me, but it wasn't. I was fine. I'm still my loud, dark-skinned ass, okay? I was just honestly adhering to your requests on my sound. And so I don't know if you've noticed a difference in the sound. I do know the last video that I put out was a little hard to get through, and I don't want you guys to not listen to my commentary or have a hard time listening to my commentary at all, because at the end of the day, this is your commentary, and I want you to be able to hear me clearly without your ears getting blown out by my naturally loud ass voice, okay? Now, if you like this video, subscribe. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and Snapchat at UNWINEWITHTASHAK. If you have questions for Happy Hour, you can email me via my website, UNWINEWITHTASHAK.com, or you can send me a direct email at UNWINEWITHTASHAK@gmail.com, and I'll be sure to get back to you and let you know when your question is live on the channel. And hell, if you didn't like this video, you can still subscribe anyway, just so you can cuss my ass out. Not that I'm really give a damn anyway. Now I gotta go. Bye.